To remember is not to recall information the way a computer recalls it. Each time you remember something, you reassemble it from traces throughout your brain. Every time it's a little different. Some traces change, some traces go missing. At a certain point, the line between memory and imagination disappears. How can this be sad when it's just neuroscience? I still find it a little sad, all these years later. What do we have but an agreed upon history we tell ourselves we lived? I wonder how much of our lives really happened, or how we really felt along the way. I don't know. I'm rambling again. I've developed the habit of rambling. Without your impatient nature here to shorten conversations I always wish would unspool. Your mother warned me you weren't much of a talker. I think she was a little surprised when I still married you. All of a sudden, you're more patient than I would like, so now I ramble. Anyway, the nurse says it might help. He's a sweet man, but not very convincing. The neurologist has expressed no such optimism. She's very frank. She said there was no good outcome to this mess. The best we can hope for is the lesser of tragedies. They say you're not conscious, that you're not really here, but it seems premature to start missing you. Right now, as I lay my hand on your chest, I feel you calling me. 40 times a minute. Lub-dub, lub-dub. 40 is a little slow, or so they tell me. They tell me so many things. I have a hard time keeping track of it all. I'm going to sit down now in a chair. Here. I'll be right here. I'm going to keep rambling because you can't stop me, and the sweet nurse says it might help.
Remember the ferry ride? You puked everywhere. The captain wasn't pleased, but the gulls went into an absolute frenzy. They followed us even after we disembarked on the island, as if you were some kind of vending machine, and if they waited around long enough, you might puke again. You once told me the world was more beautiful at night, and how you wished you had a switch that could just turn off the sun.
Maybe I can find something like that in the trees.
Oh God, what a piece of mail to get, and with such a curt notation from the doctor. Why did she abbreviate low blood count? Because her time was so precious? What about your time? I remember wondering that, because all of a sudden I knew you weren't tired, you were sick. This was our last real adventure before we got our dog, Molly. You just can't go away for months at a time with such a love at home, no matter how well that love is tended. You miss touching her. You miss, weirdly enough, her barking. Though you may not miss the smell itself, you do miss how she farted so loudly she would wake herself up. I know it's a small and seemingly unimportant detail, but life is just a series of details, and we go about ignoring most of them. The truth is, Molly wasn't just a dog. The day we drove her home from the pound was the same day we silently agreed to start a family, at which point I stopped wanting to travel, for the world's splendors were waiting in our bed to be made.
red fire hazard you bought for $2 at a garage sale. How many of these books do you think we actually read? I reckon between the two of us, it's got to be at least 5. Why does anyone buy a classic car to putz around at jogging speed? Anyway, you loved old movies and so you loved old cars. You like to say if we ever got extremely rich, you'd buy one just to park in the garden. We never did get rich, but I'm happy to report that I finally did buy an old car for you. I don't know why I thought you'd wake up to see it. Now it's just sitting here. Why does anyone buy a classic car to putz around at jogging speed? Anyway, you loved old movies and so you loved old cars. You like to say if we ever got extremely rich, you'd buy one just to park in the garden. We never did get rich, but I'm happy to report that I finally did buy an old car for you. I don't know why I thought you'd wake up to see it. Now it's just sitting here. We left this room empty, not in memoriam for the dead, just for a baby we never got to have. I can't even count the number of times we attempted the classic romantic evening in the tub. I mean, what tub is really designed for 2 people? It's probably a mistake to even come in here anymore. Why don't you just spend the rest of your life in these drawers anymore? Sagan once said, the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pies were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. To be honest, the idea used to creep me out, but now it almost brings me comfort. Every time I'm in the light, I can feel you touching me.
Remember that scene in Apollo 13 near the end of the movie? Everything has gone wrong. They are trying to get home. The ship is pretty busted up by that point, and they have to navigate manually by keeping Earth centered in the window. Our planet, a lonely beacon afloat in the cosmic ocean. Come home, it seems to call out. All you love is here. All you love is waiting. We must have watched that movie every couple months. I reckon we saw it damn near 100 times. Somehow I already miss watching it.
It's inspiring, but also a little humbling to know this is as far as we got. In the cosmic scheme of things, we're only a fraction of a hair's width from Earth. It makes me a little ill to look out at the old light, to wonder what else is out there. I mean, there could be anything. You, even. Your energy, some bit of you, a ray of light.